I've been reading about what you've achieved, and I mean that's an amazing career, Ash. I mean, you know, Ash King is a big name in India. I work on German radio. We play like Justin Bieber, Dua Lipa, and things like that. So it's not the kind of stuff that I will play, but I mean, I do respect what you've achieved. Let's start at the very beginning. You were born in the UK, or were you born in India?
I'm born in the UK.
Right. So, how old were you when you moved to India?
So I moved to India. It's been a long time. So I guess in the last 10 years, I guess I moved. I was basically based out of England, and I was given a break by Mr. AR Rahman.
Yes.
Who for us is like the top of the pyramid, or the pyramid.
The Godfather.
Yeah, the Godfather. Can you do a Godfather impression?
No, I can't. But
does that work? It sounds like.
Yeah, it's good. That's fine. Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, I know him, and I don't know the kind of stuff he does, but I mean, it's a Grammy winner.
So just to give you a brief, AR Rahman did the music for Slumdog Millionaire and got 2 Oscars for it, and Grammys, and the J-Ho song, which the Pussycat Dolls featured on, that's him. And he's done a few Hollywood movies as well, but his main work, if you look at it, it's in Indian music. And what he was responsible for was changing the sound of Indian music in the 90s. And so me in London, all of a sudden, I hear this new sound coming out of Indian music. I'm like, wow, what is this? Like, who is this? What is this sound? And he changed music. And then years later, I had no idea, but someone met someone and said, do you want to sing for AR Rahman? I was like, all right. I thought it was a joke.
Yes.
It was a joke. I thought he's not going to be there. And then I turn up to this house, and he's there in Camden Town. Then he's like, do you want to sing in a film? I was like, all right then. And now 10 years later, like, I'm a Bollywood singer. I tour around the world. I sing a lot of my songs that I've sung in playback films, and a lot of other songs that I like. And it's just a roller coaster, because years have just passed and I'm still looking young.
Yeah, you are. Let's reverse a little bit. I mean, you know, growing up in the UK and London, and you got the vibes coming from India, and all of a sudden, the Godfather, the biggest producer in the whole of India, meets you in Camden and says, would you like to sing a song for me? And you're like, yes. So what was that like? I mean, did you go straight back home to your parents and your friends and say, guys, you're not going to believe me, but I had the weirdest day?
So first of all, I didn't believe it, like anything was going to happen. I'm very like, until something happens, I just don't talk about things. And you know, because sometimes I've talked about things and it hasn't happened. But nowadays I'm like the other day, I don't know if you know Red One, the producer.
Of course, yes, I do. Yes.
He came to Bombay and I went to meet him. And while I was walking to the room, I was like, I'm meeting Red One. I used to work in McDonald's, you know, I've worked as a salesman.
All right.
I used to work in a call center. And I remember when the Lady Gaga album came out, I wanted to do 2 things. I wanted to work with AR Rahman and Red One. And just after that, I met AR Rahman through someone, coincidentally. Yes. And the next minute, I was like 10 years later, when I'm thinking, what's my next step in music? Red One comes to India, and I was like, am I meeting this guy? And I took a video of that, by the way. I was walking down the corridor, and I just spoke to him the other day again in Dubai. So he's a really nice guy, and he's just someone I want to work with. So hopefully things happen. But I'm at a point now where even if things don't happen, I just, you know, just try to enjoy everything, you know, that's going on. And even the thrill of maybe working with someone or maybe working on something, even that for me is enjoyment as well. So it's just about enjoying the vibes.
Yeah. When we listened to Just Dance on Lady Gaga the first time, we heard Convict, Gaga, and Red One. And like in Germany, we were like thinking, why are they singing Red Wine on the song? Who is this Red? Yeah, everyone did.
I used to think the same thing. I was like, Red One, who's Red One? And then when I met Red One, and I'm so happy because normally a lot of people wouldn't know who the guy that's, you know, writing the songs or making the music is. So, you know, this guy's responsible for like the first album, a lot of it. I mean, his body of work, again, is another giant in music. So I actually did the remix for Lady Gaga's Just Dance.
You did? Yes, I know that. Yeah.
So when I was in Germany, I stayed in Germany in 2009 to 2010. I was in Frankfurt, then I was in Hamburg.
Well, I was on the radio in Frankfurt in 2009, so probably you heard me on the radio playing Let's Dance.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So it was a mad time for me because I was doing a show called India. I don't know if you remember Africa. So they did one called India. Matthias Hoffman.
Yes.
This dodgy guy. And Franco Dragon. So I was the singer in that show. So AR Rahman,
I didn't know that.
After I recorded for him, he said that there's a show happening and they used some of his songs. And they said, do you know a singer that can sing in Hindi and in English? So he's like, there's only one guy.
Me.
He said, there's only one guy and that guy's not available, so you could try Ash.
Okay. Right. So the guy that wasn't available probably didn't exist, and they actually listened to your demo and said, you've got it.
You know, and honestly, I'll be honest with you, it's the first time I sang on a stage in my life. Because I was working in the call center at that time. I didn't sing on stage.
Wait a minute. You must have sang earlier in your life. You just don't realize after McDonald's and the call center, oh my God, I can sing. Let's just make a song with Red One. Yeah, right.
I used to sing. No. So that was a lot earlier. That was when I was in like college and stuff. I was like singing in the stock room or something like that. And then years later, I remember when the album came out, the Just Dance on. Is it called? Was the album called?
Yes.
Bad Romance. Anything, whatever it was.
Yes.
When that album came out, I was like, what is this? Like, this is pop music, like at its finest. So at that time, that is when I decided I wanted to. Before that, I was listening to R&B and like Stevie Wonder or Usher,
Luther Vandross, Aretha Franklin, things like that.
Yeah. You know.
So you went into the back room at McDonald's and did the Lady Gaga Just Dance song for yourself?
No. I back room at McDonald's was stuff like I don't know. I see us in the park, strolling the summer days of imagining in my head, and I don't want to bore you with my trouble. There's something about your love. I haven't sung in English for ages, by the way.
Wow.
I'm singing in Hindi nowadays, so yeah, that was all of a sudden.
I've got goosebumps right now.
Sorry embarrassing. About that, sir. Anyone who's watching this, just forgive the out of tune notes.
No, but the first question I have is, if you have an amazing voice, why didn't anybody tell you when you were singing, when you were younger, bro, you are a talent? I mean,
I didn't believe them.
Oh, they told you, but you didn't believe them.
Yeah, I remember being in high school and I was the fat kid who wasn't picked on the team. So I still had hope at every playtime. I was standing there waiting, and then all the cool kids are playing football. And then one day, one of them, he's heard that I could sing, because I used to just sing like, subconsciously. I'll just be singing around
humming. Yeah.
So he's like, "Oh, Ashutosh sings. He sings." So one day he gathered all the guys. He said, "Look, don't start playing football yet. We're gonna hear Ashutosh sing." So we're in the playground. This is Greenford High School in London.
Right.
So we're in the playground, and all the kids that play football are standing around me in a circle with their heads down and their hands over their eyes. And I'm singing Whitney Houston, "I Will Always Love You Too." That's the only song I knew.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I'm singing that, and I couldn't sing properly, but they used to. When that happened, I felt appreciated for the first time musically, because within my family, because I come like from a musical family, I thought, okay, they're just being nice to me,
Right.
But when that happened, I was like, bloody hell, people are listening to me. I mean, what do you want as a
So how did the guys on the football team, on the soccer team react? Did they like say, shut up and play football? Or did they say, oh, Ash is quite cool?
They still didn't let me play.
All right. Oh,
but they let me sing.
Right. Oh my God, maybe one day we'll see you singing the national anthem.
So do you know what? I actually thought that for ages, and then all of a sudden, I was in India, in Calcutta, and they have a sport called kabaddi. So there was a kabaddi. Kabaddi is a huge sport over here, right? And they were doing the opening of that, and all of a sudden they asked me to sing that national anthem for that, and it was one of the most scariest moments in my life, because remembering all those words and on live TV, you got the mic here and you're like, oh my God. So yeah, that was crazy. But I sang the Indian national anthem. I'm yet to sing the British one, but I don't know if I will though. Like, let's see.
Never say no. I mean, up to now in this discussion, you surprise me every second. This is amazing. I mean, you are. That is a true story for someone who started working at McDonald's in the back room doing a call center, and is now an international star working with the biggest dudes on the planet. I mean, that is amazing.
It's weird. It is so weird. And the people that
do you pinch yourself like every 5 minutes? Am I dreaming this? Are you still like 10 years old?
When I went to AR Rahman's house at that time, I did think I was dreaming. I thought I pinched myself. Even though it's a cliche thing to do, to pinch yourself. I was
no, I do that all the time. Yeah.
So I pinched myself and I was still awake. And I was like, oh my God. And I couldn't believe he was standing there. So, yeah, it's crazy. Look, it's funny because I've been around people like growing up. When I was growing up, for example, so my dad was a teacher. He used to teach music. Okay. And we lived in the bottom half of a house in Wembley in the 80s. And I remember George Harrison picking my dad up from my house in a limousine. And me and my sister just looking out the window.
Wait a minute. George Harrison.
Yeah.
The Beatles' George Harrison.
Yeah.
Picked up your dad in front of your house in Wembley.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine, because Obama came by my place yesterday. The Queen came and Putin came and they picked me up too. So that's just normal.
But the reason why, because Pandit Ravi Shankar was a close family friend. And he used to always come to our house because my dad used to sing a particular style of music. And in India, my dad was associated with these kind of artists, and because of Pandit Ravi Shankar, he obviously was with the Beatles all the time and stuff. So there was something going on, so they just picked him up for that. So it's weird, like growing up and meeting people. I remember so many hippies and stuff coming to my house in the 80s. I didn't know who anyone was.
So why did you end up at McDonald's? Why weren't you a star like 12 singing musicals and doing the whole thing? I mean, you had everyone gave you on a silver plate.
Nah, because we moved to the ghetto, South Hall. When we moved to South Hall, everything changed. It was very much.
Is that when George Harrison said, "I will not pick your dad up now because I don't want to get killed"? Right.
George Harrison was in the picture. That was just when I was a kid, and at that point we had moved to South Hall, and my dad was teaching. No, he'd retired by then.
Okay.
And he was a lot older than us. And my mum was working all the time. So it was a bit difficult. We had to work as well because there wasn't enough, financial thing.
I understand, yeah.
So when we were working, so I started working at 15. I was a waiter. Then I went to McDonald's and I used to always sing, I just love singing. Actually, I'm a percussionist. Yeah. I played a drum called dholak. But my dad never actually wanted me to be a singer because he felt like, okay, this isn't really a profession. He didn't do that well in terms of.
That's what my dad said about being a radio DJ. He said, go work in a bank, be a translator, be a builder, but don't be a DJ. They don't earn any money. That's what dads do. That's what dads are for.
In India, we call DJs RJs.
RJs? Radio jocks?
Yeah.
Okay. In German, they're called moderators because that's the word that you use. That sounds really harsh.
It does, isn't it? Like, Germany knows how to take the buzz out of
the fun out of it. Yes, they do.
The fun out of it, yeah. Right. But I love Germany though.
Yeah, it's cool. So
Berlin was my favorite place.
Where did you go in Berlin? Can you remember any nice places?
So long ago, 2010, I was there.
Okay, right. Because I grew up in Berlin.
Berlin. Oh wow! I just remember going to Berlin. I went to some kind of there was a live jazz. There was live jazz music going on. So yeah, there's just a vibe there. It was different to the rest of Germany.
Yeah, it is. Right. Okay. So you're in the UK, and I mean, George Harrison used to come by and pick your dad up and everything. Yeah, that's cool. So you moved. Just once, okay. So you moved to India to live there after that?
No, that was in the 80s when I was a kid that happened. And then I grew up, had a whole life in England, and I wanted to be a singer. I didn't know what to do to become a singer. And I decided, like, okay, I need to get a manager. And then I met someone who said he was a manager, and he introduced
the old trick,
yeah. But that's the thing, like,
robbed you.
Yeah. Oh, that's exactly.
Oh, they like to do that. Yeah, I've heard so many stories. We could join the managers who rob club.
They should be called Robert, because they rob people.
That's what I call. So that's a bad idea.
But at the same time, you know, something lost, something
you
gained.
learn through things like that. Yeah, that's exactly right. Something gained, something lost. Yeah.
And there's a lot of things I remember he said to me that's so relevant even now. But the main thing is that he introduced me to everyone. And when I did the remix for the Lady Gaga thing, we were just messing about in the studio, and he managed to send that to whoever's the concerned people were, and they decided to keep that remix. So, I mean, like, hindsight, you know, like, oh my God, that was great. You know, like, this is a roller coaster. But then cut to, like, working in India, I felt like I discovered my identity a lot more, because in England, I definitely had an identity crisis, because growing up,
you were a foreigner.
Because growing up, I faced a lot of racism, and then. So we moved around quite a lot. So when I lived in Edmonton, in North London, or when I used to go see my cousins in Feltham and places like that, there's a lot of racism. And it was confusing, because you're like, oh, you know, you go back to your country, you know, effing P, you know? And then it's weird, because when I went to India, they're like, go back to your country, you Britisher. I was like, who am I?
So you're a foreigner in both countries, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I could apologize for the idiots in London that, you know, promote racism. I can't apologize for them because they're so stupid.
You don't need to at all. But I mean, you know, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And the only thing is, it was confusing anyway, because even in Indian terms, I'm a half Gujarati, which is the west of India, and half Bengali, which is the east of India. Okay. So we weren't part of any community as such. And then, you know, even now, people, when I start speaking, they're like, is he the Indian singer? Is he the Bollywood singer? Because they start thinking, is this the guy? How's he going to sing in Hindi if he doesn't speak Hindi that much? So,
but do you speak Hindi?
I speak very basic Hindi, but I sing for like 2 hours in Hindi.
And you've got a really British accent, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I can't help
it. Everyone says, he's from London. I can hear that.
Yeah, but I'm born and brought up there. What can I do?
I know. When I speak German, I have a British accent too, and everyone knows that I'm not from Germany when I'm on the radio. I'm in the UK right now, and I even have when I speak English with my mom, and she's born and bred in Yorkshire. When I speak to her, she says, like, you have a German accent. In Germany, I have a British accent, and in the UK, I have a German accent. I moved over to Germany when I was 16, so I can imagine how it was for you. So are you still a foreigner in India, or are you now speaking perfect Hindi with a lovely Indian accent? No?
It would never happen, because the thing is, one of the problems I remember I faced was when I first started singing in England. Like, I used to listen to a lot of American music, so naturally I started singing with an American accent.
Right. Okay.
And then I was like, why am I singing with an American? Why am I putting an accent on? It was so
I'm
weird.
Indian, living in London. My dad meets up with George Harrison, and I'm singing with an American accent. This is all kind of weird. Yeah,
that was once in the 80s.
I know.
But by the way, when I was a salesman working at Heathrow Airport, I sold a bag to Ringo Starr's wife, and I met Ringo Starr.
And you just said, hey, Ringo, my dad knows George, so we are bros.
No, I didn't.
Let's call Paul.
I did think that. I was just thinking how many bags I could sell to them. But when I remember, I was like, wow. But
was it a culture clash when you moved to India from the UK? I mean, the UK is...
Yeah, it was difficult. It was really difficult.
Yeah.
It's different.
Was it okay?
Really different. I was really lonely for a long time, because even now I could say that any most people I know as friends, there's always something to do with work involved in some way.
Yes.
So I have to really like still be a bit careful. But when I go back to London, or if I go meet my friends anywhere in the world, there's just a different sense of, freedom kind of thing. So it's lovely because I enjoy what I do as my career. But at the same time, I do believe that you should have a separate family life, a separate work life,
yes.
a separate social life, and a separate artistic space. So getting that social life has been a bit difficult. And then, I'm just trying to manage, man. Just trying to manage it.
Well, I think you're doing quite well. So let's talk about Lady Gaga. Did you actually meet her, or was that like a session production? Yeah,
I was with my friend D1 in the studio, and we just we heard the song. We said, "Oh, why don't we do a remix?" So he somehow got the files off the internet. Sorry,
it's all right.
And he said, "Oh, you know what? Let's do something different on this." So he put a dhol in there. Punjabi dhol, him being Punjabi, and he got this. There was a verse which I can't remember the lyrics for, but I just rewrote that verse. It was like, "You better watch your Playboy mouth, because that's what players are about." I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I was sitting on the sofa. I didn't even stand up to sing it. I dragged the mic down to me like this. So I was singing like this,
And what did you actually sing? Translated into English?
I sang in English.
Oh, okay.
I didn't sing in Indian.
I thought you was doing like a special version.
Sorry. So she goes, "Just dance, gonna be okay." So there's a gap in there, right? So I went, "Just dance, nachale, nachale, nachale." So nachale means dance. So she goes, "Just dance, nachale, nachale, just dance, and a brick of it." Just dance, nachale. So we put that, and we put some dhol in there. I might add that to my show, actually. That's quite good. I haven't heard that song in so long. But after singing it now, I was like, "Oh, nachale, nachale," that works for my shows.
Yeah, well, probably a lot of people probably stand there in the audience and think, "Why is he not singing that?"
Nah. That you're talking about over 10 years ago. Now it's like,
well, you've got some older listeners. Yeah, okay.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes. You can say as much as you want.
Which I feel is very. I mean, I have to go for my show now in about 10 minutes.
That's fine.
But I think this is really relevant. I feel like it's so hard for an artist to actually know the reach they have with their music, and who knows your music and where those people are. I don't know. How can you know how many people have heard your song? We've got 7 billion people in the world.
Yes.
Music travels further than anyone else,
and it's international as well.
I mean, and international is a big word. I mean, not literally, but it is. But it's also, so when I look at figures online with this social media pressure that's there, because I'm not from a generation that's in social media,
right?
It doesn't really quantify how many people really know your song. So, like, if I look at, for example, just the AR Rahman song that I did. Mm-hmm. Right now in India we have 1.3 billion people, so you could probably say around, I don't know, a quarter of them heard the song. Yes. Right, and then there's around, I don't know, 100 something million Southeast Asians outside of India. Like you've got Pakistan, Bangladesh, and they're all consuming Bollywood. And then 10 years down the line, when I've sung about, I don't know, 100 songs, like each song has gone out there. And I did independent music just at that time when I was starting in Bollywood, called Love Is Blind. It's an Arabic, English, and Hindi. And that went to #1 in the UAE. And to this day, when I go to places like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, they're playing the song. So
it's amazing.
it's weird how your music has reached so many ears and you'll never know it. I don't know if you just try and deep that.
I know
it's
what you
really
mean.
weird.
Yes,
So,
I do. I mean,
yeah.
I
So when you
broadcast
say
for like
about
6
adding a
million
song
people. So I think sometimes who's listening to me? Is it the guy at McDonald's?
yeah,
Is it the rich football player?
you never
Who is my
know
audience? And
exactly.
you never know. And sometimes you get like really weird messages on Instagram or Facebook. Hi, Rob, it's Angela Merkel, Chancellor of Germany. I'm listening to your show. That didn't happen, but
Wow.
things like that could happen, you know. And
Yeah, but
when
you
you
never
read
know.
these, yeah,
You never know because you just don't know. You don't know who's listening. And the point is that as an artist, you're expected to, for some reason, you're expected to know. Do you know how famous you are? Do you know?
yeah.
And you don't know, and I don't know how relevant it is.
I know what you
the
mean,
main
but can you
thing,
still walk through the
yeah,
streets without getting recognized?
some most places, yeah. I haven't reached that face value yet, but I'm happy because I go to certain places which I love going to, and I'm like, oh my god, if so and so was here, they wouldn't be able to stand here. But at the
Yeah.
same time, yeah, there are certain places when I go there, it's uncomfortable because not because I love meeting people as an artist, but if I'm with my wife or if I'm with my family, it gets a bit, too much for them. And they're like,
Yes.
oh, can't we just have a nice family day out kind of thing? So yeah, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It just happens in some places. But yeah, some after concerts and stuff, it's difficult because
Yeah.
people follow your car like for, I don't know, an hour down the road. And
seriously,
yeah, man. Yeah, come to a show one day in India, you'll see.
Yeah, I will. Probably if you come back to London, it'll be easier for me because from Manchester to London is
it's a different
easier
vibe.
From
like,
Manchester to Delhi. But
see,
I
in
guess
London,
so, yeah.
In London, like I remember, so during the lockdown, I did probably one of the first concerts in the world on February 14th, 2021. There was
Were
a
you in the
lockdown around the
UK?
world.
Were you in the
No, I
UK
was
at that
I was
time?
in India.
Okay, in India.
In the middle of India, in the northeast of India, I went there, traveled for 8 hours by road, 3 hours off road.
Okay.
When I thought no one would be there, got to the stage, there was 20,000 people there.
No.
And yeah, if you go on my Instagram, you can see that it's a place called Dil Gira Dafatan.
Right.
20,000 people there plus in the middle of nowhere on Valentine's Day, 2021. And that was that was one of the first concerts after lockdown in the world.
Was that an illegal rave or was that legal?
No gathering was allowed anywhere in the world.
Right.
So where are you going to get 20,000 people? Now, here's the thing about India. We have 1,300 million people here.
It's amazing.
So in our it's a subcontinent. So when you do a show, it's easy to get 100,000 people in there. So it's a totally different vibe to England, where you can, you might get, I don't know, in my shows, you might just get, I don't know, 5,000 or 6,000.
But that's still better than, yeah, I mean, it's amazing. God, Ash, this is so exciting talking to you. This is amazing. You have a real, you are like Slumdog Millionaire. This is amazing. This is amazing stuff. Yeah, you're the Slumdog Millionaire person in front of me right now. I mean, it's amazing.
Slumdog Millionaire, man. Yeah, that's me, man. I like that title.
I bet you do, yeah. So Bollywood, I always think has like, I'll let you go in a moment, but I think Bollywood always has something of a derogative meaning in my ears. Bollywood, it's like we are not as good as Hollywood, and that's why we chose this name.
I mean,
I think you guys in your genre, you guys are better than Hollywood. So why not? Let's change the name. What would be the new name? Indian film or something like Bollywood sounds like, oh, it's in Bollywood. It's second rated to Hollywood.
So being born and brought up in England, that's what we thought as well. But then I think I just got used to it because first you're like, because then you've got what's the Nigerian one, Tollywood, and then you've got the there's a Pakistani one as well, something else, and so there's like Tollywood, Bollywood, all these different ones in different places, right? So it does sound secondary, but I think America's always been the trendsetter, and credit where credit's due.
Yes.
We love some of the stuff that comes out of America, and I think
well, the
America
Americans
set the
love the
trend.
British stuff too, and the Americans love the Indian stuff too. So you know,
Yeah, I mean, it all comes
but
together.
America is
That's different.
the
But
biggest, powerfulest
let's talk
country.
about
It
on the
is, yeah.
commercial level. You know what they've
Yes,
made.
yes.
You know, I love it. I love the competitiveness there and everything. So if you look at Hollywood, it's a film industry. So the Indian film industry was called the Indian film industry before, but Bollywood, I don't know how that was made. That's quite an interesting question. But I think that it's just one of those things where you just have to accept it and go with it. But
Yeah,
Bollywood is just a name given to the Indian film industry, but India's much more than Bollywood now. India's the independent music has risen here. We have really, really big artists doing things. Although it's national and not international, they have an international fan base of Southeast Asians kind of thing. So we haven't crossed the borders yet in terms of international collaboration. They've tried to do it, but it hasn't worked because you can just see there's no chemistry between the artists. So I'm the only guy in history to come outside from India and become a success in India. So one of my aims is to collab with people outside and make genuine songs. It's not about commercial success for me personally. That would be great for India. That would be great for the industry. But then it has to coincide with what I want to do as well for it to even be a success. So my personal thing is to just collaborate. My dad, he took Indian folk music to Africa in the 50s. And he designed the clothes, he choreographed the dance, and he really was, showcasing Indian music abroad. And when I went to Germany, I remember for the India show, I felt something similar.
right.
Because I remember every day the place was packed, and they were all like amazed at the whole show, and I was like, wow, I'm a part of this. And yeah, when I go somewhere, so I started singing in England in open mics.
Right.
There was a place called The Spot in Covent Garden. So they used to have a bit like
the Eminem film, 7 Mile, 6 Mile, 7 Mile, something like that.
That's rapping though, isn't it? That's
yeah,
rapping.
but I mean, there was a live crowd in front of the stage.
And it was like a bar. There was like a keys player, bass player, and a drummer. And it's called The Spot. It's gone now. It changed to something else. But that was the first time I went on stage and I sang something, and in a small place. And I used to just sing in these open mics. And then, you just got to know the circuit and you just got to know people. So what I used to do is I used to start singing in English, and then I used to switch the song into Hindi.
And everyone was like, oh my God.
So it'd be like this. I've been alone with you. Oh, let me start again. Hold on.
Yeah. Okay.
I've been alone with you inside my mind. Hello, is it me you're looking for? I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your smile. So that's the hello, right? So the Hindi one is Aaja sanam varna to hum mar jayenge. ओ मेरी जान मेरी कसम है तुमको सुनो मेरी जान हो तुम आ चला कहीं तो चले वहाँ कोई ना हमको मिले बस तुम हो और मैं हूँ जाने जा. Whatever, sorry, my voice.
Oh,
I haven't even warmed up
man.
yet. Yeah.
That is amazing.
This is just me. I just woke up just now, got ready, and I'm just
that was perfect.
So, yeah.
And I think, that's the end. Let's call that the end of the interview, because that was an amazing finale. God, Ash,
I'll sing one of my songs.
Oh,
so this is, I want to give you a taste of what I've done. So this song will give you an idea of what my music is in terms of my legacy.
Yes.
So this song is a song called I Love You. This was my first hit song. One of my first hit songs in India. And and my name's Ash King, and the song goes like this.
Off you go.
दिल का ये क्या राज है जाने क्या कर गए जैसे अंधेरों में तुम चांदनी भर गए कर चांद तारों को मशहूर इतना क्यों कम वक्त इनसे भी खूबसूरत है तू I love you do oh oh I love you.
Oh my God, this is amazing. God, that is a great voice. You are a really great guy. Very interesting, very nice to talk to. And I know why you've made it to who you are today, because you are really genuine. Bro, that was amazing. Thank you very much for coming to us today.
Thank you. Just want to say a big shout out to Ashish Manchanda for hooking this up.
Yes.
It's the first time I've done something outside of Bollywood in any kind of interview. I just don't do anything. And I feel like I was living in a bubble. So I hope the Global Icon thing burst that bubble and makes, you know, the world our bubble. If that sounds cheesy, but it makes sense.
No, it doesn't. It sounds really, sincere. Yes.
And make some, you know, let's get some new music going. Let's get some new vibes, new people, new artists, and hopefully that the Global Icon can be part of that process where it makes it happen.
And you will be part of that, I promise you.
Oh, I'd love to be. Before I die, yeah, I need to do something internationally.